Hello and welcome to Wisco Legacy. I'm your host, Corey Kundert. On Wisco Legacy, I talk to interesting, inspiring, and successful people from the great state of Wisconsin and hear all about their journey. You can find me on all the podcast platforms. I also have a video version of each podcast on YouTube. You can follow me along on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And I also have a website, wiscolegacy.com. Please like, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, I'm Mike Graham. I've lost over 190 pounds, and this is my Wisco Legacy.
Hi, I'm Corey Kundert. I'm the host of Wisco Legacy. On today's podcast, I have Mike Graham. Mike Graham, like myself, has lost a ton of weight. He's lost 190 pounds. So really excited to dive into this episode of Wisco Legacy. All right, Mike. First things first, we're from the same hometown. We're both from Monroe, Wisconsin here, about an hour south of Madison. Can you describe the community of Monroe?
Monroe is an awesome place to grow up. Small town feel. It's not too small, but being close to Madison, everything, you've got all of that. But there's just a real sense of community in Monroe. Great support, a lot of stuff to do. It's just really an awesome place to grow up.
I would agree. I have such a sense of pride for growing up here in Monroe. Going through, I was an athlete, so we had a lot of great support from our community for that stuff too. So what did it really mean to grow up here? I know obviously we have a good sense of community here, but what did it mean? How's it feel to have that M on your chest?
It's pretty cool. I played some sports, getting to represent the city of Monroe. Moved away for a couple of years, went to college, thought about it, and I want to grow up here. I want to raise my kids here. Just a lot of, like I said, tremendous support, but it's prideful. I love, a lot of times I wake up in the morning and go walk around the square. It's a beautiful courthouse. It's just me. It's in there.
Yep. Your identity is kind of tied to Monroe. Mine definitely is, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned you played some sports. What sports did you play growing up?
So growing up, I did the t-ball, the soccer, a lot of stuff through the local YMCA. And then really kind of started to hone in on football. I did do some wrestling up until about 8th grade. And then in high school, it was just football and track.
Okay.
So.
What positions did you play in football?
Football, I played offensive and defensive line. And I was the center on offense. And then, the big man in the middle playing defense. So
awesome. How big were you in high school?
High school, I think I went into high school at about 255, 270 area. And I ended up graduating, honestly, probably in the 320 to 330 range. Okay. So definitely always been a big kid.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what life lessons do you think you learned from football and even some of the sports you did competing as a youth? And how did that help you with this weight loss, I guess?
Discipline, in a weird way, but coachability a bit, definitely. How do
I even think when I was competing, even just like the friendships that I created in the relationships, and for me, I learned a lot about myself competing in sports. I figured out how to work hard. And reflecting back, going through my weight loss journey, I don't think I worked as hard as I thought I did back in high school.
Oh, for sure. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think, knowing you have more in the tank than you think you do was definitely something. It's like we've run 30 sprints today, and it's like I'm going to drop, but then you can get those next two. It's like, okay, I can push myself that little bit further. But and support. I still talk to a couple of the guys I play with. One of them throughout all this has kind of been there pushing me the entire way, giving me that support. So even just that friendship alone that I gained is a big thing.
That's so awesome to see. I have some of my best friends are from competing in high school sports and youth sports and stuff. So it's awesome to have that kind of continue beyond there. And,
For sure.
that's probably that small community feel that we have here
Yep.
too.
Yep.
We have a fair amount of people come back to Monroe because of that. So that's awesome. I know you're a big outdoors guy.
Yes.
Who got you into hunting and fishing?
So my entire side of the mom's side of the family is pretty outdoorsy. And my uncle who lives here in town actually was the first one to get me in, push me into the hunter safety. My other uncle was an instructor in hunter safety. And then they started going out with my cousins, all that. So I mean, it's kind of just it's a family tradition, I'd say.
Nice. What are some of the things that you go out and hunt?
So the big ones would be deer and turkey are probably, more so my favorite, but the last couple of years, waterfowl, a little bit of coyote, some stuff like that. So really, if there's an excuse for me to get out and do it, I'll do it.
Awesome. You have some favorite spots to go hunt or fish or anything? I know Wisconsin's really known for awesome stuff like that.
Oh, and there's so much public land out there. It's awesome. I mean, you really can't go wrong. But my uncle owns a small farm or small piece of property just north of town here that is my favorite spot to be. So nice. We put a lot of work into it and all that, and it's just it's the land that he's owned since I've grown up there, so it just holds a special place in my heart.
That's great. Any awesome, memorable hunting or fishing stories?
I'm trying to think. Nothing too. I mean, it's to sound cliche, but it's all special in a way. But just this last year, I finally harvested a buck that I'm deemed wall worthy. So that was a pretty special moment. And I got to share it with my uncle. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Have that family tie there. That's super great. All right. So we're going to transition now into your weight loss. You and I, we live in the same town. We both lost a bunch of weight, independent of each other.
Yep.
I knew you were losing a bunch of weight. You probably were aware that I was losing weight. But it's really cool to see two of us in this town really make a huge effort to better ourselves. So I want to dive into your weight loss story. So, you've always been a bigger guy. I've always been a bigger guy.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your lifestyle before you started losing weight?
Oh man, it was funny. I was listening to your podcast the other day, or your first one the other day, about your weight loss. And I mean, now looking back on it, I can't believe I wasn't massively bigger than I was for how much, now knowing calorically and all this, what I was eating. I mean, I wouldn't eat a lot at one time, but I was constantly eating. I mean, I'd eat a big meal, and then 45 minutes later, I'm grabbing a bag of chips and snacking on the chips. And I think a big thing that I was lucky enough that being an outdoorsman, I did get out and move enough that kind of helped mediate some of the food, I was eating. But I also spent a lot of time watching movies and playing video games, and some of that definitely didn't help. And the Mountain Dew, I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one who was on the Mountain Dew train, but we're off Mountain Dew now too. So
yeah, for me, it was like probably 3 bottles a day at least I was drinking, and it that's almost 1,000 calories and all that sugar. It's kind of disgusting to think about nowadays. But
yeah, oh no, Mountain Dew has been I was a big Mountain Dew guy for sure.
Was it tough for you to quit that?
Not as bad as I thought. I did it once in high school when I tried to lose weight. I cut out all soda for about a year and a half in high school. So I knew I had done the soda thing before. I mean, I've tried losing weight plenty of times, but no, this time I somehow just really dug in, and it wasn't too bad. And like you had said too, I used to think the sparkling waters and all that could never scratch the surface, but they're pretty good. I drink quite a few of them now. So nice. That's definitely helped. And then, like the little Mio energy or whatever, put a dash of that in. You can it's like a soda. It's good enough. Yeah.
For me, it's always been about flavor.
Yep.
I drink a lot of water now. I definitely wasn't back then, but I needed some sort of flavor. And then I drink this bubbler sparkling water.
Yep.
And so it has the fizziness and a bunch of flavor. So it's the perfect match for me. And I also started drinking coffee like a couple of months ago. I never drank coffee. I hardly ever drank coffee, but I'm basically addicted to it now. So
I was gonna say coffee and low cal energy drinks, whatever. I did a lot of caffeine, so it definitely keeps me going.
Yep. Nice. So what inspired you to start losing weight?
Like I said, I've always been a bigger kid. I mean, I don't know how many times I've tried and failed. I wanted to, it just, so actually in high school, my sophomore year, went for a physical and did not pass because I had pre-hypertension, high blood pressure, and have actually been on medication since. So for about 10 years, on and off different medications. And that was something I really, outside of my parents and maybe my sisters, were aware of. It's not something I want to brag about at 16 or even in my 20s that I'm on blood pressure medication. It's not ideal. And so I definitely wanted to get off that. And, it's like I am getting up there in age. I'm in my mid 20s now. I've got 2 nephews. I'd like to have a family of my own. I don't want to leave my family behind in my 30s. The route I was going down, it's how long can you keep that up? And just, I want to be around for a long time and enjoy a life that I can do to the best ability, to the full extent, I should say, of there's a lot I couldn't do at the weight I was, is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
So.
No, yeah, I definitely feel that same thing. I was, not that I want to talk too much about myself, but I think our journey is aligned pretty well. For me, like part of it was like, I don't know, I was almost 400 pounds and I could still touch my toes.
Yeah.
And I could still do things, but I was tired all the time and like just felt miserable and stuff. And so something needed to change. But I'm really, really happy that you took that leap of faith. So you talked about trying to do this multiple times. Like you've tried to lose weight a bunch of times. What do you think made it stick this time?
I think the biggest thing this time was being realistic about it and not jumping in full force, cut everything out, do this. I simply was like, okay, I'm going to eat exactly what I've been eating, a little bit less, and I'm going to move my body a little bit more and slowly make those changes. And I started seeing results like I did before, but like I said, didn't instantly cut out all this food and didn't instantly stop doing this. And then slowly but surely it just started to snowball. And next thing you know, we were off and running. So I think starting slow and having real expectations or realistic expectations were the key this time.
Yeah, starting slow is kind of a theme that I've heard a few times, that I was down the similar path. I've tried to lose weight a bunch of times, and you dive in and you haven't worked out for a year and you're like, okay, I'm going to go try and run. That's not ideal. Stuff like that. So I think, starting slow is definitely a great thing to do. And, just cutting back and getting more movement is definitely more beneficial. Did you have any goals coming into this?
So initially, as far as a weight goes, I wasn't too concerned with the weight. I mean, I have been at times, but a really good buddy of mine at one point in time said to me that he goes, focus on the function, not the structure, or function over structure. He goes, do you want to be able to get off the couch when you're 60? Do you want to be able to do just those small things? He goes, worry about getting your body to a place where you feel good and whatever. Don't worry about the number on the scale as much. But I did really want to get off those blood pressure medications was huge, and just wanted to get to a point where I felt a little more comfortable in my own skin and whatever. And then once we started going, so heaviest recorded I have is 380 from the doctor. And once we really got going, and then this past spring, I kind of thought if I could get to 190 just to say I cut my body weight in half, I think that'd be kind of a cool goal. So that's what I did, and I ended up hitting it just a couple of weeks ago. But as of now, the number, not too concerned with. As long as I can just continue this lifestyle, I'll be happy.
That's awesome. That's a great mindset to have. The scale doesn't really define the journey. It's, how you feel, how you're doing and all that stuff. So it's the people that focus on the scale sometimes kind of lose sight of that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's super awesome perspective to have. Do you have any hard times on this journey? I think you've been doing this for almost 2 years now, right?
Yep.
Or a little over 2 years.
Yep. Just around. Yeah. I the first couple months weren't very serious. Like I had thought about it, and then at my next doctor's appointment, I saw like, oh, you'd lost 25 pounds, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it, kind of started turning. But yeah, I mean, there's been so many ups and downs. It's, and I haven't been very open about it as far as on social media. My immediate family and a couple of friends I kind of have been grateful for, because I can, bounce things off of and talk to and get some whatever. But I mean, it's been the greatest thing I've ever done and the hardest and easiest thing I've ever done in a way. I mean, there's been tons of ups and downs, days I care about the scale when I know I shouldn't, blah, 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 blah. But it's taught me so much about myself that it's worth all those bad times for sure. But yeah, it's not an easy journey by any means, but it's been worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have to kind of change your mindset at all going into this? I definitely did. When I started my journey, I'm super competitive. I want to see results quickly, but I knew I needed to take this slow. What was your mindset early on, and how did it kind of change throughout the process?
So early on, and then being that big, I mean, a pound is a pound for everybody, but being that big, initially the weight kind of just started, especially with some of the water weight things, initially changes, but started coming off. And the big real change was when it starts to slow down, and then you don't, if 3 weeks in a row, each time I got on the scale, the weight was going down, then all of a sudden that first time it went back up was, that was, it's a tough day. And it was trying to just, once again, be realistic about it. I had to look into things, Google things, talk to people, whatever, and figure out that you're not going to lose weight every week. It's not going to be, and once again, then too, I was taking my mind off of the scale is how I'm deeming, how I feel about myself or how I think I look, and vice versa. So that was definitely a big change. And we're still adjusting to that at times. It's not, it's a everyday thing, win each day. So, but that was one of the bigger mindset changes. And also realizing that I'm still in the exact same body I was in at 400 pounds, and people, oh, you look great, whatever. And I appreciate all of it. I love it. But there's sometimes it's like, I thought I was going to lose all the weight and everything would magically be different and change. And it's not. That's something I wasn't necessarily ready for. Also losing all that weight, I've got a relatively good amount of loose skin, which is a whole nother battle entirely. I don't know if you've got much, whatever, if you want to talk, but it's not what you would expect. And I should have known where's the skin going to go. But yeah, I was thinking I might look a bit different at this weight, but it's all, and the loose skin is worth it. I'll take that over the alternative any day. So.
Right. Yeah, that's great. So what kind of workouts are you doing? Kind of talk me through the whole process. So you've been doing this for two years.
Yeah.
What was a workout like early on, and how has it progressed throughout time, and also how often are you working out?
Gotcha. Yep. So it started off I want to say I wasn't doing anything initially. Like I said, I was just kind of trying to watch the food. And then right around the time COVID hit, I would say I started just going for walks. That's all I wanted. I didn't want to, once again, didn't want to jump in too quick, run before you walk type deal. And nope, just started going on short walks. I mean, they were slow. It was ugly, but I was moving. So I joined a gym then. That's all I did pretty much was walk every day. I'd get further, whatever, but did that until about October of last year. And I think I'd lost probably 80 to 100 pounds just off diet and walking alone, and then that was another big thing was stepping foot in the gym. I'd worked out in high school, did the strength training, whatever, but hadn't really been back in the gym since. And that was another big hurdle for me was just stepping foot in the door. It was tough. I don't care too much that I was the big guy in the gym or if people were looking, but at the same time, they're looking. So it's, it was a mental preparation for that. But then got into the gym and just started doing some cardio machines and whatever else. And then had to kind of reteach myself how to strength train. But then have been doing strength training since and did a bunch of cardio over the winter. I've cut back on the cardio a little bit. I was trying to go just about every day if I could over the winter, just because not doing a whole lot else in the winter, just trying to keep some steps, some movement in. And then now I go about 4 to 5 times a week, pretty much all strength training. And a little bit of cardio, warm up here or there, but I try to do my walks and stuff outside when it's nice, just, but yeah, about 4 or 5 days a week and just strength training is all I'm focused on now. Now I just want to get stronger. So.
Yeah. You've put in the work to shed the weight.
Yeah.
And now it's, getting to where you want to be strength wise. So that's awesome. I want to dive a little deeper into the hurdle to step into the gym. So, I kind of had that same thing too. Over the years, I've occasionally, like I said, I've tried to lose weight a bunch of times, and I'd go to the Y or something, and I'd work out for a week or two and just stop. And part of it was just, making excuses for myself. And part of it was just kind of that hurdle of, am I really like mentally prepared to start down this journey? Because it's a long journey. It's a hard journey, and it's absolutely worth it. But that first step into the gym, there's some butterflies, there's some nerves to it.
Absolutely.
You talk a little bit more about how you felt and how you pushed through that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So from the time, I think the day I joined, it was probably 3 weeks before I built up the nerve to actually then go, I went in, signed the paper, walked out. It was probably at least 3 weeks before I actually got myself in there. And it helped that I would go super early. Not a lot of people there, whatever. And I would just throw some sweats on, throw headphones on, go in, whatever. And just thought too, it dawned on me, or somebody had said that, the people that are in there are probably the least likely to judge you because they're in there working on themselves. They get it. They understand, and I'm not saying that people outside of it don't care, but, that's probably, and I know you're a YMCA guy, but I'm at any time here in Monroe, and the people there, it's great support. They've been cheering me on every step of the way. So that definitely helped. And I just thought, what's the alternative? You're afraid, and I'm going to go back to living how I was living before. The changes aren't going to come. Stepping outside your comfort zone has once again taught me so much about myself. I mean, this was all uncomfortable for me, but so was being 400 pounds. So was going down the road I was going down. The only regret now is that I didn't do it sooner, but and it's face your fears, get in there. One thing that did help me as well, just a little tidbit, whatever is, I would find a series or something on Netflix that I liked, and I'd only, not as a punishment, but I'd only allow myself to watch it if I was on the bike at the gym. So that was kind of just a little extra motivation to, oh, I got to get in. I got to watch the new episode of this, or whatever. So that definitely helps me get in as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what kind of stuff you listen to when you work out. I mix it up. I'll listen to music. I'll listen to podcasts and some motivational stuff too every now and then. So you occasionally listen to Netflix. What other stuff you listening to?
Yeah, so it really depends. Now that I'm into the strength training thing, I like a little bit more of the heavier stuff, some metal, little, sometimes classic rock, rap, whatever. But when I was doing a lot of cardio and stuff like that, it was books on tape, podcasts, stuff like that. If I'm there just doing some stretching and whatever else, stuff like that, like I said, yeah, podcasts, books on tape. I watched, Netflix or movies while I was doing steady, cardio in one spot. But lifting, my music is all the way on each side of it. I could be listening to anything. I could be listening to classical music while I'm working out. You just never know. It just depends on the day. So
Yeah, depends on the mood for sure. Yeah. I mix in some of that stuff. I actually have a playlist that is essentially what I listen to before my wrestling matches. So I've
Gotcha.
basically duplicated my playlist from back in high school. So
Yep.
like that just gets me in that mindset to really get going. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've got a couple that I tried to duplicate from like the old weight room tapes, that
yeah.
try to get the same just because it's ingrained in there, a little bit of nostalgia and gets you pumped back up. So
Yeah.
for sure.
Brings it back to some memories from back in the day.
For sure.
So what do you think have been some key factors that have helped you achieve the success that you've had?
Like I had mentioned before, having realistic expectations. And there were a lot of things. It's an excuse and not, but I didn't fully ever buy into, everybody knows how to lose weight, but was actually doing research. I was lucky enough that I've got a lot of friends that, some people have competed in bodybuilding. Some people, my chiropractor buddies that have gone to school and really understand some of the biology and all this sort of stuff, have been a support system for me. My sister's been in the gym for years. Having a support system, people to ask questions, somebody to kind of help you out, get knowledge from. That was a lot of it, is just figuring out. It was hey, I'm going to quit drinking pop and start drinking juice, not realizing I was still consuming roughly the same and stuff like that. So definitely there's a lot of free information out there. So that was definitely a part of it. And just, even if I fell off of my diet or, had a rough day or a rough weekend, or it was my nephew's birthday and I ate a bunch of cake, was before I would do that once and it was throw it all out the window, forget about it, whatever. This time it was just get right back on track, just get back to it. It's a new, one day's not going to hurt you, and just consistency, and trying to make sustainable changes that I'm going to be able to, a lifestyle, not a diet, is what the changes have been, that have been massively, and doing things I enjoy, not force feeding myself salads, finding foods that work calorically for me that I actually enjoy. And I'm not going to go run marathons when I'm not a marathon runner, so finding workouts and things that I enjoy, and other ways to be active have been huge this time around, for sure.
Awesome. The whole sustainable lifestyle thing is, for me, that was my key to success. I didn't want to do a specific diet, like a keto diet or something where I'm like restricting things. I still want to have the freedom to eat what I want and know what I'm putting into my body. But the key for me was really just dialing that back down, but still having the freedom to eat a piece of cake and not feel bad about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really cool. I was going to ask you if you did any specific diets or anything, but it sounds like you didn't.
Yeah, nope. There's really nothing, nothing I avoid. If I want it and it works for me, I make it work here and there. And I have been, sorry, have been strict at times on certain things, but when a little too strict, I would say, or I wouldn't advise people to be so strict. But for me, it was disciplining myself and teaching myself that I can do it and I can be that disciplined. There are a lot of things, over this journey that I've passed up on and that I didn't partake in because of it, but it was learning to trust myself and understand, and so I went a little too far in times. Now I'm just trying to balance everything back out, but no, there's nothing, if I wanted cake, it was cake. If I wanted some Oreos, it was Oreos. I just tried to make it work, little lighter breakfast here and a little heavier there. So no, there's nothing really I would avoid.
Yeah,
Sure.
life's about balance, and if you want to do this for a long, sustained, like a huge lifestyle change, you have to treat yourself every now and then, because going from speaking from experience, going from almost 400 pounds to losing a bunch of weight, it's still in there.
Oh yeah.
It's something you battle with every single day. I know I still stop at Quick Trip too often, but their food's too good to pass up
Oh, I
sometimes.
absolutely no, and that's what protein bars. I am a protein bar addict because I found ones that taste like candy bars to me, and I've got a sweet tooth. It's just things
Mhm.
like that have helped too. It's I still have the chocolate and the sweets and the whatever. It's just finding things that work for you and maybe not having seven of them.
Yep.
So.
Nice. Do you track your food at all?
Yes, so I do track calories. That's been a big thing that has just helped me too. And it's the easiest way for me to do so. My goal is eventually to just intuitively eat, and I can tell now what my body needs as far as the macros aren't as important. I just try to hit as high protein as possible. Um, so I used to think the drink water before a meal and eat high protein and high fiber will help you stay full. I used to think that was, not a thing, but it truly is. I can tell if I don't have, high protein meals, I can tell I'm hungry like that. So a lot of protein. Yep. And I do track calories for now. So,
Nice. What are you using to track?
I just have a Samsung Health app. It's on my
Okay.
phone. I don't have an issue finding anything, as far as stuff like that goes. I did have my Fit Pro or something for a while because it links up to my scale, but I found the Samsung thing just to be easier because I'm a creature of habit. I eat probably the breakfast has probably been the same for 2 years now, so I can just pre-program the meal and then just click breakfast and it goes in there and has all my calories in it. So I use it and it syncs to my watch for my steps and all
Hmm,
that. So
that's awesome. I'm kind of the same way. Like I eat pretty much the same breakfast every day. And my lunches, I have like 3 or 4 variations of lunches that I
mhm.
have. And I work at home. So for me, it's really easy to just pop up and make what I usually make. And I
Yep.
know how long it's going to take and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I eat a lot. That's made it easy too, is I just eat a lot of the same things, but it's what I enjoy, so it works. So
yeah, awesome. Do you have any goals for the future?
um sustaining this or just this lifestyle is definitely, part of it. And No, I'm really just excited to, like I said, mentioned before, there were a lot of things I couldn't do that are now possibilities. And I just want to take advantage of that and, just enjoy, all the hard work that I've put, and like I said, sustain it. I just want to maintain, if weight fluctuates here and there, that's okay. But I just want to stay roughly, where I am. And but no, we have switched over to now. I'm kind of trying to make sure I find my true maintenance calories, and then I'm going to try to put some muscle, go through a couple of programs and try to put some muscle on over the next year or so, and then just continue to see where it takes me. So
Nice. What's your caloric intake kind of day to day?
So right now I'm right around 2,600 is about
Okay.
what I eat per day. So it got relatively low there for a while. Was probably getting down into the 2,100, 2,200 range. And that's about where I was, right down to my 188 weigh in or whatever it was at the doctor a couple weeks ago. But yeah, now we're just slowly adding back up to try to find where maintenance is. And I think I'm right around there now. So that's where we're at with
Nice.
that.
Yeah, for a while I was I was dipping down to like 1700 a day, and
Yeah.
I wasn't getting enough protein, so I
Yeah.
increased that and I got up to
Yeah.
I'm right around like 23 to 2500 a day, and it's a good
Gotcha.
balance for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Let's see. How has this weight loss transformed your life? We've talked a lot about some of the things that you've done and whatnot, but how has it really transformed your life from your day to day, your maybe your work life, your relationships, the whole gamut? How has it
Well,
transformed
and
your
that
life?
was one thing I wanted to ask you too, is just how much better do you feel?
So much better. Like my joints don't hurt. For me, like I can run around with my kiddo outside and not be winded. Just like it's helped me. Like it's helped me be a better father. It's helped me be a better husband. I do way more around the house than I ever used to. Like before I used to, just sit around on the couch, and now I have way too much energy. So I'm walking around doing things, and I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes my wife just wants me to chill out, but I just got too much energy now. And yeah, I feel like I'm a better, better employee too. I feel more focused and feel like I can get a lot more stuff done than I used to. And just like a better person overall for me. I feel like I'm more positive than I used to be. Not that I was ever like a negative person, but I feel like this has helped me become even more positive. So,
No,
how
I
about
would
you?
say the same for sure. Yeah, no, and I get that question a lot. How much better do you feel? How much better do you feel? And I do. I feel 1,000 times better. The thing with me is I never realized. I don't want to say I felt bad before. Yeah, I had the low energy and the aches and the pains, and it was tough, but part of me would not realize that everybody else's feet don't hurt after walking. I just didn't, that never clicked. And being big, always being the bigger kid, it just kind of it was my day to day life, 10, 15 years. But, excuse me. No, yeah, like you said, my mood is better. My energy is better. Same thing. I have nephews, and I mean, now I can run around and play with them and not be winded, and them crawling all over me, not being like, get off me. I'm dying. I can't do this. Um, it's definitely helped, with confidence. Um, yeah, I mean, everything is just easy. I mean, I can pop out of bed now. I can go, everything. There's times, if my buddies ask me if I want to go do a hunt or go fish or go do this, and I just didn't have it in. I wanted to. I love doing that stuff, but couldn't get myself up off the couch and didn't have the energy. Or I knew where we were going was going to be a long walk, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I didn't want to be huffing and puffing, not be able to keep up, be in pain. And all those things are back on the table now. So
That's awesome. I mean, another thing for me has been like the mental side of it. I was never like outwardly like struggling mentally, but internally, for me, every time I was eating, I'd eat way too much, and it would like a lot of times I'd literally say, I hate myself. Like, why did I eat this entire pizza when I could have had three slices and been fine? You know what I mean? It was
oh,
kind of
100%, because I'm a glutton as well. I would eat until I felt like, I mean, I was ready to pop, and I would go lay right down and then just do, and then once that pain would go away, I'd go eat again. I'd just go, and not another meal, but I'd go grab, a half a row of Oreos and eat. And then 45 minutes later, I'll go grab a Mountain Dew, and things like that. But no, I've learned so much about myself. I have so much more confidence in myself. I know this was the first major goal I felt, I mean, or the biggest goal that or whatever that I tackled and was able to do, and thought, oh man, there's a lot of things I didn't think I could do before that I can do now. And like you said too, I would never say I was, not in a great mental place, but I'm in a much better one now, as far as like that big clothes were hard to find. I couldn't necessarily. So I was the kid that I would be out in shorts and just a big baggy sweatshirt, not wanting to stand out, and things like that. So that played a big role in it. But no, overall, mentally, physically, everything is vastly improved. And it sounds kind of funny. Somebody just maybe doesn't know me or just looking at me, that my body has changed less. My mindset has changed more than my body has, which, I mean, if you, like I said, I'll get you some pictures. My body's changed quite a bit. So it's, my mindset has changed way more than my body has, which is not what I expected.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we had talked before we started the recording. I ran a 5K yesterday and I got dead last. But you know what? I don't care. I finished the thing. And 10 years ago, if I would have got last in something, I would have freaked out.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I probably would have. But the journey that I've been through to get to the point to run a 5K and finish was tremendous. So yeah, that mindset matters way more than people ever think about. And I think our journeys kind of align that way. Like the mindset really pushed us through to get to where we are. And the journey's not over. We're still going, we're still pushing. It's a lifestyle change for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I was just a couple of weeks ago ran my first, and ran a full mile since high school probably. And it was like, even that was just, and it's like, it wasn't fast. It wasn't pretty. It didn't feel, but it was just another accomplishment to set up and knock down yeah, I mean, I would like to do a 5K someday. So maybe we'll have to talk about that. And I can't run, so you'll have to teach me how to run, but no, yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
So Cheese Days Chase next year?
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. That's what I had initially talked to my sisters about, wanting to do it this year. And then, of course, no cheese days, that took care of that. But yeah, we should definitely do that.
Let's book it now. We'll run the Cheese Days Chase next year.
I can't back out now.
Yep. It's on video. It's recorded. All right, so we're going to transition to some rapid fire questions here about the state of Wisconsin. You're from Monroe, same town as me. What's your favorite restaurant in Monroe or the surrounding area?
Ooh, part of me wants to go with Ponchos and Lefties. It's like 3 blocks from my house, good food. The other part of me wants to go Goodfellas in Argyle, Wisconsin, just for their pizza. That pizza it's tough. It's been calling my name for quite some time lately, so I think it's maybe time for a pizza.
There you go. What's your favorite local event here in Wisconsin?
Cheese Days.
Yeah.
Hands down. A little biasy there, but Cheese Days for sure.
Cheese Days is so awesome. I mean, we're a town of 10,000 people and we get about 100,000 people coming to town, and our town can only hold it or handle it every 2 years.
Oh, there's no cell service. This place, they shut it down for sure. It's incredible to bump into people or to hear where people come from. I mean, people legitimately come from all across the world for cheese. It's incredible.
Yeah. Awesome. Where's your favorite place to hang out in Wisconsin?
Favorite place to hang out? That's tough. I want to kind of say though, somewhere where, hunting or fishing on one of the lakes. Like I said earlier, there's so much public land in Wisconsin to take advantage of. But really, anywhere outdoors would have to, I'd say yes, somewhere hunting, fishing, something like that. Just taking advantage of what Wisconsin has to offer. For sure.
All right. Final question for you, Mike. When all is said and done, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
I want to be remembered, I guess, by as many people. This sounds odd, but just in the most impactful way possible. I just want people to remember my smile, remember a joke I told, something funny I said. And at the end of it all, I want them to know, whether I haven't talked to you for 20 years, we were high school classmates, whatever, that if you need somebody to talk to bounce something off of, whatever, that I was a guy who was there, and that I truly do care, and just somebody people could rely on. And like I said, they just truly did care about his family, his friends. Like I said, if I had one interaction with you in a grocery store, I hope I made an impact on that person's day, even if it was just a smile, brighten their day a little bit. I just want to be, a positive light in people's lives. So.
Great. Your weight loss journey here is really inspiring. I mean, to literally lose half of yourself, 190 pounds, is really impressive. And to be able to do that over the course of 2 years, and just in this conversation, you can tell that this journey is never ending. It's going to be something that you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. So you're definitely making an impact, and your story is definitely going to make an impact, Mike.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that's one thing too. I just wanted to note, whether you know me or not, or anybody, if there's ever anything, I'm no scientist, I don't know it all, whatever, but I would be more than willing to try to give you tips, advice, help out, just explain how and why and little things I do if you have any questions. I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure you're the exact same way, because you had mentioned this in your initial podcast telling your story. If I could help one person do half of what I've done for myself, I would be just tickled inside. It'd be awesome. So just wanted to get that out there.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Mike. This is a really great conversation. I'm glad we were able to connect on this. And
yeah, thank you for sure.
Yeah. Thanks for hopping on Wisco Legacy.